What is up, everybody? All the piranhas out there. Welcome to first edition of Piranha Pine News. I am your host, Kingfish Mac, and we're gonna talk about it today. Here to bring you all the news of the day that people are talking about. Give you a little spin on it. Give you my perspective or our perspective, depending on who's joining me. Just give you guys keep you guys up on what's going on. First story, breaking news today is that a couple of arrests have been made in the PnB Rock robbery murder case. In case you guys don't remember what happened, a couple of weeks ago, rapper PnB Rock was robbed and killed at Roscoe's House of Chicken and Waffles on Manchester, Maine, here in Los Angeles. Internet has been on fire about it. Various different conversations about how to move when you come in other people's towns, this, that, and the third. In any event, let me give you guys a bar of what our beautiful news ladies had to say about it. Check this out.
Hey there, good morning. Welcome to Good Day LA at 9 a.m. We do have breaking news to begin with. Fox 11 has just learned that a minor is under arrest in connection to the murder of rapper PnB Rock. You're looking at a photo right now of another suspect. This is Freddie Lee Trone. Police sources tell us the 17-year-old son is arrested in custody, is the son of Freddie Lee Trone and is the suspected shooter. They're still looking for the other suspect, Freddie Lee Trone, who they say drove the getaway car. They tell us he should be considered armed and dangerous, and if you see him, call 911. PnB Rock's real name is Rakim Allen. Back on September 12th, he was shot and killed while having lunch with his girlfriend at Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles on West Manchester Avenue. Police say the suspect walked into the restaurant as they were eating, shot Allen and removed some of his property. They say the suspect also demanded property from Allen's girlfriend before escaping in that getaway car. We are also told the father-son duo were already in the Roscoe's parking lot when PnB Rock and his girlfriend arrived.
So, as you guys can see, or as you guys probably heard, not only have they identified the alleged suspects in the murder robbery, but it turns out that it is not only a man and his wife, but also the minor son who apparently was arrested first. Anyway, let me read this. It says Los Angeles detectives arrested a woman and a teenage boy on Tuesday as they pursued those believed responsible for the murder of Philadelphia rapper PnB Rock, who was shot to death inside a restaurant in South LA after a struggle over his jury. A bulletin released by police Wednesday identified a third person wanted in the killing as whatever this dude's name is, who police described as being involved in the September 13th murder of PnB Rock. So from what I'm able to glean from all the various different reports, I'm not going to read you guys all the different reports that have come out in the last day or so, but basically what they're saying is that perhaps the father, son, and the minor who was about that business, the father, whose name I'm not going to be mentioning here because he's wanted, has been reported as an alleged member of a particular street gang from Los Angeles. So the dad was about that life. The son, who was a teenager who hasn't been identified, but who has been identified as the actual shooter, was about that life. And apparently the stepmother, new wife or whatever, she was about that life. The thing is how about that life do we want our kids to be? You know, I was recently in a conversation with one of my homeboys who was talking about my 21-year-old. My 21-year-old son, shout out to Kerry Mack, out there doing his thing, trying to find himself. You know what I'm saying? And they got to bump his head, you know what I'm saying? And go through whatever shit you got to go through to develop who you're going to be as an adult. And, you know, I can't do nothing but let him go through that because, shit, I'm still finding my way. But my homeboy was like, yeah, nigga, you out of line because you got all this game. You've been in these streets all these years. You should be thugging it out with your little dude, right? And I'm like, dude, you got me fucked up. The last thing that I want is for any of my sons, right, to be following in the footsteps of the bullshit ass life that I done led, right? It hasn't amounted to anything. I'm not, you know, sitting up on no hill rich, and, you know, I don't even have a proper retirement plan. You know what I'm saying? So my life is not nothing to be aspired to. So it kills me, even though I know that we living in times where, you know, the thirst is real, especially out here in Los Angeles, right? We passed the pandemic. Ain't no more free money. All the scamming money that was worth thousands and thousands of dollars is pretty much over with, you know, and cats is trying to get, you know, they're trying to get it, you know, by whatever means necessary. But for you to be putting your kid in a position where, you know, they really trying to execute, you know what I'm saying, a lick with you, like the whole family. Y'all on some Bonnie, Clyde, and Bam Bam type shit, right? And then for the son to be, you know, the actual shooter, like this ain't, you know, back in the days when kids used to get arrested for some shit and you go to juvenile hall and be out in 30 days. Nah, your ass go to the penitentiary just like everybody else. So I just think that it's kind of a shame that circumstances that we, you know, that we kind of live in right now, it's led up to such a thing. Like I said before in another podcast, I understand the thirst that drives, you know, the wolves to come out, especially when you're walking around with pork chop necklace on or whatever. It's not no justification, but I understand it. What I don't understand is going on licks with your kids, man. That shit is just not, it's not the business. All right, what else we got? Oh, you guys are probably up on the fact that Nia Long has been in a relationship with Boston Celtics head coach Ime Udoka for the last 10 years. They've both been in the news the last couple of days because Ime got caught up in a workplace romance, apparently cheating on Nia. They have a 10-year-old child together, so she's more than just a girlfriend or a fiance. She's a real live baby mama. And so Ime had been in a protracted relationship with a currently unnamed staffer within the Boston Celtics, rumored to be a woman who is married to a high-ranking executive within the organization. How it kind of came out, again, this is all alleged. How it all came out was that the Boston Celtics suspended Ime for the rest of the season, right, for the entire season, and released a statement, did a press conference or whatever, saying that he had been suspended as a result of an investigation into a consensual relationship between him and another adult employee of the organization. They did not name who the other person was, nor did they speak on any discipline that had been meted out to the other party. They did say that it was consensual. The internet went on fire. Of course, you know, the sisterhood bought into the whole, you know, nigga, you would cheat on Nia Long, like for real. And, you know, I wasn't on that, but in terms of thinking of Nia Long, in terms of her attractiveness and her sexual marketplace value, for lack of a better word, it's pretty high. I mean, in terms of the way that we look at things and the way that we value women in the society, especially sisters. I mean, Black men have learned to respect and acknowledge a Black woman's achievements in whatever field, right? And your individual accomplishments and your ability to kind of maintain, yourself and strive in, whatever your life's journey is without, having to rely upon the assistance of a man. And Nia most definitely has done that. On top of that, she's very beautiful. And I don't know her, but just watching interviews and the way that she kind of carries herself, you would think that she would be a cool chick for a nigga to fuck with. All of those things put on paper sound great, right? And you would say any man would be lucky, especially a cat like me, would be lucky to have a Nia Long in his life, and woe be the fool who would fuck that off. But I think that what has been a staple in some of the conversations that we've had on this particular channel is a man who is particularly desirable to a woman who can hold her own, a woman who's about her own life, self-improvement, self-actualization, and really reach the pinnacle of wherever it is that she desires to be, whether that's, a woman with a doctorate or master's degree or something in a particular field, woman who has accomplished, a level of success that most men don't accomplish in a particular field, or a woman that, is able to kind of pay her way through life on her own. We have been trained to regard those things as the pinnacle characteristics of how to determine whether a woman should be exalted. But in the real world, one of the things that we say is that those kind of things are only appealing to a nigga who is not self-actualized on his own. So a guy who has reached the pinnacle of success in a particular career, major league sports, right? He's a professional basketball player for X amount of years, accomplished however much success there in terms of financial achievements, as well as whatever accolades. Food around, you got a head coaching position where you was assistant coach for however long. You got a head coaching position, and you took the Boston Celtics to the finals. You're over 6 feet tall, 6'7" you chipped up, and you would be someone that a woman would be proud to, walk in the door with, like power couple type of shit. Thing about it is that all of those accolades that we talked about in terms of what Nia Long has achieved, apparently they didn't mean shit to this guy right here, right? Because he was willing to throw all of that away for whatever was going on in his heart. And let's talk about that. I know that it's out of favor for us to require that a woman in a particular situation with a man have to stand on anything short of her just, being some fatal attraction chick that just comes in and destroys the man's life without his invitation, right? As long as the man was participating in whatever was going on, then we typically blame the man. And we look for all the various things that led to this man doing this dastardly deed, whatever it might have been. In this case, it's cheating on Nia Long. And when we say, okay, well, what about the woman? Then we go to the automatic assumption that there was power dynamics involved. He's the coach. She must have been someone who was lowly in the organization, who he was able to potentially affect her job stability, this, that, and the third. And I think that this kind of came out. Well, let's first assume, for purposes of argument, right, on a very theoretical and hypothetical basis, that all the reports that we've gotten are real, right? And that He was in a protracted relationship with a consensual relationship with a consenting adult woman who worked for the organization and happened to be married to a very high ranking and powerful executive in the organization. Coaches are replaceable. We'll just say that. Coaches don't have very much, unless you're the general manager, you don't have no hiring, firing shit. But we'll just assume, right, that this was the scenario. And we'll assume that she's some staffer that is under him. What we're not taking into consideration is that her husband far outranks Ime Udoka in terms of the hierarchy of the Boston Celtics organization. And so now the power dynamic shift, but we don't want to acknowledge that, right? We do know that he's the only one that got thrown under the bus, right? His life, career, relationship, family was ruined, right? Not to throw him any bail and say that him having an affair on Nia Long or the executive was correct, or that he has any kind of justification, because like you get what you pay for. But at the same time, was there any real equity in the way that the rollout came? So it seemed to me that the rollout came as a pointed way of basically sunning him, spank your ass, and then leave you in limbo, right? You're not fired and you haven't quit. You're still part of the organization. We got you on ice for a year. You're taking a big cut in salary in order for us to keep you on ice. And then at the end of the year, we'll go back and we'll revisit what we want to do with you. Also, it's been blasted all over social media, regular media, every sports page, sports channel, this whole thing, embarrassing Nia Long, the sisterhood, shit. They called out the soldiers and drug his ass on social media, as perhaps they should have, But at the same time, when it came time to asking the questions about, okay, well, who was the other person and what was the extent of the relationship? What did the investigation reveal? We didn't get any of that information. All we got, sorry about that, you guys, it's a fly. All we got was, all this different speculation, rumor, innuendo, and the like. So what it would say to me, if I was taking all the rumors as being true, is that the power dynamic actually was shifted. It's alleged that the affair got discovered by the woman's husband because she was out on the front porch in front of the Ring camera having a conversation about the affair on her telephone, on her cell phone, and the husband happened to hear the entire conversation. I don't know if she was talking to Ime or if she was talking to somebody else about, how problematic the current situation was for her or what. But in any event, we don't know what the conversation was inside that household. We do know that that is still a household. Nobody's talking about her being divorced or, she being kicked off the team or anything like that, right? So what we can assume is that she worked out whatever she had to work out with her husband. What is also being alleged is that after the affair was discovered and reported, or after the affair was discovered, as she was trying to break it off with him, he was continuing to pursue her through messages and phone calls. And then that got reported as being some type of harassment, which it may have been. What I would say to that is, how inhuman do you expect me to be? First of all, you've already acknowledged, and I've admitted that my heart is so pulled by whatever is going on with this woman that I'm willing to have an extramarital affair against company policy on company grounds against my fiance of 10 years, who I have a child with, who is one of the most famous Black women in entertainment, right? Famous, revered, and loved. And I would be willing to risk all of that for something that I'm not emotionally connected to. That's just bullshit. We have to stop with all of this virtual signaling as though people aren't human and that the heart doesn't do what the heart does. If we assume that this man was in a relationship with someone else's wife, with all these hazardous conditions, and this affair had lasted for X amount of time, we have to assume that he's emotionally connected to this woman. And just because it got caught, because it got found out by her husband, doesn't mean that he's going to be as accepting as maybe she is about the end of the relationship, especially if you're just talking about, hey, look, something's going to happen. We can't see each other anymore. I can't talk to you anymore. No explanation, no nothing. My heart is in this. I love you. Whatever the hell is going on with me, I'm going to want some answers. And hell yeah, I'm going to text you. I'm going to FaceTime you. I'm going to do whatever it is to try to get some answers within reason, what I think is reasonable at the time. Now, it might not be reasonable to someone who's standing outside of the relationship, this extramarital relationship. Remember, the whole scenario is wrong. So we can't delve into trying to judge degrees of the wrong. Like, the wrong is the wrong. And if he's wrong, she's wrong as well. And I think that there should have been some equal punishment going on. All right, you guys, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Piranhas, y'all know how it goes. Third and last story. And this was a hilarious story to me. Let's see if I can find this. There was